Okay.
We're on, and hello! Welcome everyone to Supercharger Health is what we're doing here today. This is Beth Annie Stockdale, owner of your Total Body Wellness Center located in Venice, Florida at 800 East Venice Avenue, Suite C, again in Venice, Florida, but that's not where we are today. We are in the house of Suzanne, so I will turn it over to her.
And I'm Suzanne with Discount Med Direct, and yes, we are at our location here in Port Charlotte, 2414 Tamiami Trail, Unit 1. We also have a location, in Cape Coral at 229 Del Prado Boulevard North, Unit 9. Our phone number here is 941-421-7155. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and you can find us on YouTube, iHeartMedia Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And how many episodes do we have already?
Today will be 31.
And Supercharger Health is just about exposing you to different modalities, opening your mind up to different ways to improve your health. And today we have a very special guest.
Yes, today our guest is Ed Silvernail, and he is a Qi Gong practitioner, a certified hypnotist, counselor, something like
consultant hypnotist, Qi Gong practitioner, consultant hypnotist. I'm a Reiki master, psychic medium. So,
and today we're talking about Qi Gong.
And today we are talking about Qi Gong. That was the key thing here. These are all things that I use personally. I know some people just like to, they'll study things just to share with other people, and they never apply it themselves. I apply every one of these practically every day. I have a ritual. I get up in the morning, do my exercises, my meditation, prepare myself for the day.
All right, so what is Qi Gong?
Qi Gong is actually an ancient Chinese method. It is part of traditional Chinese medicine. It goes back thousands of years. They found that it was actually dictated that the people do these exercises at one point because they found that people were healthier, they didn't get sick as often, they were more productive.
Healthier when they exercise, go figure.
Yes, it's amazing. A proper diet and exercise, mental clarity. In China, when the communists took over, it was actually banned for a time, and today they brought it back because science has validated the effectiveness of Qigong on the body and the mind, but they eliminated the spiritual aspect. So in Qigong, you have three aspects. There's medical Qigong. In medical Qigong, we're dealing with the body, the physical aspects of the body, the ligaments, tendons, the muscles, the organs, the lymphatic system, the mind, the cranial, sacral, the fluid, and the spine. You have the martial arts, which everybody's familiar with martial arts, karate and so forth. So it is a method to teach martial arts. And then you have the spiritual aspects. The spiritual aspects deal with meditation. It's basically opening yourself up to spirit in general. So mainly what we work with people is on the medical and I don't get so much into the martial arts. It's more the medical. We teach people, we want to basically prepare people to walk out of their house without hurting themselves.
There you go.
I tell people I'm in the perfect place for my age because I just turned 60 and I see a lot of people my age stumbling down the street, barely lifting their legs, can't breathe, they're overweight. I don't want to be like that. I tell people I want to leave a healthy corpse.
Well, I don't think anybody actually wants to be that way. It's just they don't have the knowledge.
There you go.
Right, of how easily it can be. Once your mind is willing to then say, okay, I want to be healthy. I'm willing to be healthy. So with Qigong, one of the basics then is we can work on our balance, both physically and mentally.
Well, you start with the basics. In Qigong, we start with what we call a restorative program.
Okay.
The first thing I love to teach people is to breathe. Most people don't breathe. We were joking around with that earlier.
We have had programs on breathing.
And we're not good breathers.
So the average person, not in the world, most of the countries in the world breathe with 70% or less lung capacity. Okay? We want to teach them to really fully breathe. Use the diaphragm. Breathe properly and relaxed. And then you really get to oxygenate your blood, you clarify your mind, so that the whole purpose is, again, start here, okay? Then we get into the different movements, and the movements, again, the restorative, are to help the ligaments and tendons, the supporting tissue of the body, the skeletal structure, realign. I jokingly tell people the best way to do these kind of exercises, naked in front of a mirror. There's nothing wrong with a naked body. You'll see the flaws. Clothes cover things up, okay? Women's bodies, I tell people, go through hell. Childbirth, just what a woman's body goes through a quicker change than a man's does. We go through a cycle just like women do, but it's more subtle. Women's body every month. Childbirth throws the hips out. It's, your bones. Women have more bones issues. We have exercises that actually the impact helps to strengthen the bones.
All right, let's get back to basics.
Okay.
Number one, is there anyone that should not be doing Qigong from a fitness standpoint? Is there any limitations?
Everybody can do these exercises. The beauty about this is that we customize the exercise to the individual.
Okay.
If you have high blood pressure, heart issues, things like that, naturally your head doesn't go below your waist. So in some of the exercises where you're bending down to touch your toes, you don't do that. You go as far as you can go. We work with your limitations. And we can actually work with medical professionals to help you overcome and work beyond these.
So Qigong is nothing more than body movements. There's no weights involved. There's no equipment involved. You can actually do it in a chair. My understanding is so that there's no one out there that cannot do some form of Qigong and get benefits from it, because it is simply body movements that help strengthen the body's internal organs. Can you explain how it does that?
Well, there's different postures, different movements that, as I was explaining earlier, for instance, imagine you have a dirty sponge. You fill it with water, you squeeze it, you release it, you do it a few times and it flushes it out. We do the same thing, say, with the liver. Some of the movements squeeze the internal organs and you tighten it up and it moves out the toxins in the area, the lymphatic perhaps, the blood that pulls, and then you release it, and fresh blood, fresh fluids can come back in. So the exercises, we were talking earlier about the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system moves by body movement.
It's an up and down movement.
A lot of people spend time doing this all day long.
When you say doing this,
sitting. Thank you.
For those who can't see.
So a lot of people are spending time in front of a computer, just sitting down, and they're not doing anything. And after a while, their shoulders hunch up and their body stiffens up.
Happens.
Not to me.
So we do these different exercises. And you can do it sitting here. We have one. Shaking in 9 gates I was showing you earlier, but you can't do that necessarily sitting down, but you can do this.
Okay, and what he's doing is he's moving his feet up and down, up to his toes and back down to his heels in a rapid fashion, because basically what your lymphatic system does is it's a pump that operates on an up and down movement. So sitting in a chair, quickly moving your feet up and down will at least get the fluid moving up into your first lymphatic
and the other thing we're doing is we are helping to pump the blood that pulls in the calves. You do a lot of sitting, that's what's going to happen. Long drives, you can do this as a passenger. In fact,
I need to do this all the time.
I do a lot of driving.
I used to do one leg.
So if I put cruise control on whenever I get a chance, and I'll do this.
Or if you're, airplane flights,
any time that you find yourself stuck. And the other thing I'm doing is, I don't know if you could hear, I'm hitting my heel on the ground. That impact helps to strengthen the bones.
There you go.
You see the martial artists that are breaking boards and the breaking stones, they practice over the years, and that impact, and we're doing exercises like this where we're tapping on the bones, that helps to strengthen the bones. And it helps to move the fatty tissue out of the bone marrow. And which is another thing.
That's harder when you have to think about tapping. Just putting your feet up and down was easy. Tapping, you have to think about it.
Just let it fall.
Oh, and you're activating your quadriceps too.
So you're just raising it, let it fall. Raise it and let it fall. And if you're
There you go.
standing up, the real challenge is just to relax the shoulders. And this is the other thing. A lot of people, because as you build up stress, and stress is the number
As
one
I-
killer, you
I'm
start
relaxed.
drawing your shoulders up and tightening up. Most people, you find they clench their jaws and the stress around the shoulders. So the beauty about this one particular exercise, as you do that, just get your shoulders to bounce up and down, and they start to level out. A lot of people are getting headaches because their neck is out of line. You see women dragging their purse around on one shoulder, which I carry a tool bag. I'm a copier tech by day. I'm carrying a 30-pound tool bag everywhere I go. So I focus on balancing. So draw a line down the middle. Your shoulders should be parallel.
Well, you switch it to the other side.
Yeah.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But I also go in with a handful of parts and things like
So
that.
that you can balance out your body.
So I
that way.
balance things out. So the other thing about Qi Gong is it's self-awareness. We want to be aware of how you walk, how you sit, how you stand, how you think. Okay? It's the whole body, mind, spirit thing that we go back to. So we're talking about, how you walk. You see people walking down the street, you're dragging a foot. You may have a physical injury that you have to work on strengthening to overcome. I tell people, look at the bottom of your shoes. You'll see how you walk and how you stand.
That's one of the things we worked on with me. My feet tend to go out.
And
a little
again,
bit.
you have people who are born. So you have basically you have things that you're born with. They'll refer to it as like karma. You have universal karma, which is the environment of the world we're in right now. Okay, so right now there's a lot of stress. You have a lot of people inside that are stressed. So we need to work on stress, get their bodies moving, get their minds moving. You sit still, you're going to die. Plain and simple.
Well, yeah, because the body wants to move.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at nature, animals move. We should be moving. Just like we should be expanding, we should be increasing, we should be joyful, we should be happy.
Exactly.
And that's what we talk about a lot in Supercharge Your Health is let's just create, more happiness and more joy and get our bodies well.
And when you do,
moving
and when you're moving, and it's really amazing that when you're moving, I do these exercises in the morning, and I feel such power, such strength. I am not a muscular person, never have been. My dad was 5'10", played high school football. Not here. I had to.
But it doesn't.
But I had to learn. But I had to learn to work with the body I have. My strength is waist down. I used to be able to run all day long. I could ride a bike 20, 30 miles nonstop.
But
that
Qi Gong-
changes in life. And
Right.
now I've had to adjust to the changes because as you age, your body changes. So
Only if you allow it to be.
well,
Right,
but
and we'll argue about that. Qi Gong, is it about strength? What is Qi Gong about? Is it just about getting the body healthy? What is
yes,
it about?
balance.
Okay.
Balance is the key thing to me because, and it's not just physical balance and it's mental, but let's go to the physical balance. As I said, I tell people, I just turned 60 and I'm in the right place for my age because I see these people walking down the street can barely walk. I watched a guy walk out to his mailbox and had to pause for 10, 15 minutes before he could walk back to his front door to catch his breath. Okay? So,
What would Qi Gong do for him?
well, it would start to get the lymphatic moving. I watched his ankles were this big.
So what
Because of all
movements in Qi Gong would you use for him?
They have the one I showed you where he could do this sitting because standing for people like that is hard. And you can do these actually in a walker. You can use a chair to assist. So we call that one shaking the 9 gates. Okay, the 9 gates are the wrist, elbows, shoulders, ankles, knees, hips, lumbar, thoracic, and cervical vertebrae. So we're shaking them, we're loosening them up. Okay, that movement moves the lymphatic. Lymphatic's not just down in your feet, your legs, it's throughout your body, the lymphatic system. It's good for arthritis. Okay, so it loosens up the ligaments and tendons on the joints. It actually helps to strengthen them. So exercises like that. We have another one, it's called standing on a boat. And that's very descriptive. When you look at the foot, you have the big toe, little toe, and you have the heel. That's the big triangle. And then the big toe, little toe, and the ball of the foot. So it's merely shifting from...
I'm showing the camera.
So big toe, little toe, heel, big toe, little toe, ball of your foot. So imagine just shifting your weight from the big triangle, which is big toe, little toe, heel, to big toe, little toe, ball of your feet. So you're moving, you're just doing this. You're going up and down like this. It's a gentle exercise, and you're not going way up. You're just raising your heel enough so maybe you could slide a credit card underneath. Now that doesn't sound like you're doing much, but you're actually, again, you're strengthening the ankles. You see a lot of people that hurt themselves because their ankles and their knees are not strong. So that in itself will help strengthen the ligaments and tendons in the ankles and works its way up. It helps to pump, again, not as severely as the shaking the 9 gates, but it can help pump the blood and the lymphatic out of the knees. Also, you're talking about body alignment. So when you're doing that, you start with a good alignment of the feet.
I get yelled at for that a lot.
Okay? So, and that's why I say, if you do it naked in front of a mirror, you can focus on that alignment. Make sure your feet are at least shoulder width apart, pointing the right direction. You see a lot of people, their feet are like this. It's telling you your hips are out
And
of
he's
alignment.
pointing his hands out.
So you got one foot that's pointing straight ahead, and you got another one pointing off at an angle. So you want to bring them back, and as you do these exercises, it's going to help realign the lower back. Now, people go, and I watched your video that you did with the chiropractor, which is great. It's great to go to a chiropractor. They're going to get you back in line, but you want your body to stay in line.
Right.
And the beauty about these exercises, it can do that. It helps to strengthen the supporting mechanism of the body, the joints, the spine, and so forth. So once you get in the line, it can help strengthen it so you stay in a line. Okay.
Well, and I think the guy you were talking about a little bit ago that was having a hard time walking, even the breathing would help him, because that would help to expand his lungs and be able to breathe, to walk farther.
To learn to breathe properly. You see a lot of people, you tell them take a deep breath and go, you're breathing up here.
That's what
The diaphragm's down here. I tell people, put your hand on your abdomen. Inhale, hand should go out. Exhale, it goes in.
And if you need more on breathing, go back to our breathing episode.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So practice breathing, and there's simple exercises. You can start sitting down and you work up. People have had strokes. I had a friend that was coming over. Her husband had had strokes and so forth. So it's helping to strengthen the side of the body that is now weakened and to bring them back to awareness. I tell people, find your feet. So when you're standing there, find your feet. Your weight should be on the center of your heel. Big toe and little toe give you that balance. Okay? So when you shift your weight forward and you raise the heel up just a little bit, that big toe, little toe is still giving you the balance. Now you're on the ball of your foot. The center of the ball of your foot, which is actually in Oriental medicine is the kidney acupuncture point. So again, it is part of traditional Chinese medicine.
What conditions, so we're talking to our audience out
Okay.
there, what conditions can Qigong help?
I don't know that there is any condition that it can't help.
I was going to say, we're going to go back to what the chiropractor said.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right,
Because-
but it's important for folks out there that
The
like
thing
have
that-
migraines, they have diabetes, they have constipation, they have diarrhea, they have whatever.
The key thing to
that
know
Qigong can
is
help them.
before you start, who you're working with needs to know your condition so that we can tailor the exercises to those needs. If you can't stand for any length of time, if you need something to support, again, you can use a cane, you can use a chair, you could use a walker. If you can't stand, how you sit. So we need to know your ailments so that we can tailor the exercises to you. And there's a whole range of exercises. In the martial arts, you have what they call a kata, which is a form. We can tailor these things to, they do have these in Qigong that help you transition. So when you walk and you're stepping, how you step properly, how you can transition, you don't put your foot up, you got one foot in the air, well, you're already trying to raise the other one up, and this one, your other foot in the air isn't down yet. So it's moving shifting your weight properly. Again, when you step, it's feet, waist, hands. The feet are going to move first, everything else is going to follow. But it's doing it properly. So it's teaching these people who have any kind of ailment, starting from where they're at. A baby, he can't move, he starts where he can turn himself over, then he gets to where he might push himself up, and then he's pulling himself along, crawling, then he learns to walk, then he learns to run. So you have to strengthen everything. You didn't get sick overnight, so the person did not get to that point overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take time, but the other thing is it takes persistence. You have to want these changes. You have to want to be healthy. I've seen people for years that, I want to be healthy, I want to get past this, I want to get past that, and then when you offer them the program or a program, any kind of exercise program, meditation for their mind, whatever, they might do it a couple of times and, this is too much, it's too difficult, or they just stop. I went to a local gym. My wife and I were a member of a gym for a while. I always liked to work out. And I went in and watched these people, I'm sitting there waiting to use a piece of equipment, and there's 5 or 6 of them standing there talking. One sitting there, the rest are talking.
That's fine. Let's get back to Qi Gong.
So you have to want to do this. So these exercises are not difficult. They're not hard. It's a matter with any program.
And I think that's the important part, is wherever you are at, physically, mentally, spiritually, that you will start where you're at.
Exactly.
Don't go on YouTube, start watching masters that have been doing this for 20 years, and then get frustrated because you can't do those movements that they've been doing for 20 years when it's your first day. That's the important part, is that you're willing to start at the beginning and willing to progress at your own pace.
Exactly. And this is the thing that I've been working on lately, because I'd held classes down the street, different locations, and I was actually a silver sneaker instructor. Now, silver sneakers is part of some Medicare and different insurances. A lot of silver sneakers instructors aren't doing it because they can't hold classes right now. We have a lot of people who are staying...
We're not going to talk about that.
We have a lot of people who are staying inside right now, and they're watching these videos you were talking about, and they're trying to do the exercises, like you said, based on that. They need one-on-one interaction.
And they need to do this outside.
They need to do it outside. Whenever you can. Don't stay in the house. Outside.
But don't do it outside naked in front of your mirror.
There you
go. That's a good point.
That is a good point.
Unless you've got like a big fenced-in yard.
You can't combine our advice. So good point, not naked outside.
Well, it depends on where you're at.
Yeah, unless you live someplace
in your backyard.
Yeah.
Secure. But I couldn't do it in my backyard because we don't have a fence.
The key thing is that you need interaction, and you need a support mechanism, and that's what we're trying to do. Well, you need somebody who can help you hold you accountable.
Yes.
If you can't be there in person, face to face, we can sit there and do these Zoom calls. We can get on the phone and, to help motivate you, keep you on track. Okay, how's this exercise been working for you? Well, I find that if I do this, I'm experiencing a little discomfort this way. Okay, let's modify it. Okay.
Right, and that, to me, because I'm a personal trainer. I didn't put that out there first. And I'm a health coach. Having to be held accountable means you're not fully in. You're not fully willing to do the work. Correcting form is different. You need someone who's experienced that can correct your form so that you don't hurt yourself.
But I get what he's saying, because especially in the beginning, and this is my experience, and I don't know that we've talked about this or not, but I know we've talked about it personally.
Right.
Even when I was doing martial arts, I stopped doing martial arts when the people that were holding me accountable to be in those classes weren't there anymore. So when my friends left martial arts, I left too, because I didn't have that accountability of people that wanted me to be there. So I needed that. Some people need that, like,
See, now there's a difference between external motivation and internal inspiration.
But see, this goes to
Yeah.
my...
That's a whole other episode.
This goes to my hypnosis. See, as a hypnotist, part of what we do is you've got to reinforce the idea until it becomes second nature and you no longer need to repeat it. So by holding this person accountable, by having this one-on-one interaction, and it live. I don't like, the recording's great, but live. So you can talk, see where they're coming from. After a time, they don't need me. That's my goal.
Right.
I don't want them to rely on me for every little thing. You want them to become self-accountable, to where it's second nature. But it takes time to do that. It's like changing a habit. It takes time.
I think early on we talked about that. For me, exercise needs that social component. I like that social part of exercise. So
and that's different.
But at the same time, it's still in like an organized class. It's an accountability.
Mm-hmm.
It's my friend calling me up and saying, "Why didn't you come tonight?" So that I feel obligated to go and meet that person there. I'm much more apt to go when I know that someone's expecting me to be there. Like if it's just an instructor, I'm like, But
well, again, see, I do this every morning. I have a routine. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I get up in the morning. I have a routine. I meditate. I exercise. I have a whole ritual I do before I leave the house. I don't need somebody to do, because I've worked on that. Yeah. This wasn't something that happened overnight. As I said, I got into self-hypnosis when I was a teenager. It helped me through some very difficult times. This is the same way with this stuff. You need to have someone that can help you, guide you along the path until you are self-sufficient, where you no longer need part of the parent. Eventually, the kids leave the house.
And see, I think you're so far into that like self-motivation part of it that you don't even understand that difference in personalities.
But
we're going to switch gears.
There you go.
What's the difference between Qigong and Tai Chi?
All right, good question.
That's a whole other program.
Qigong is quite often thought of as the grandmother of Tai Chi and yoga. It actually predates them. Okay. That and the fact that the exercises are more specific, if you will, to strengthen specific areas.
Okay.
You get in, you see the people doing Tai Chi, and they're slow martial arts movements, if you will.
Okay.
And they do help with balance, and they do help to calm the mind and center the mind, and they do strengthen a lot of the body. Qigong gets more specific. So before you can move, you need to strengthen, as I said earlier, you need to strengthen the ankles, the muscles around the ankles, so that you're standing right and not breaking your ankle or any kind of bone because, I stepped wrong. We do in martial arts, I don't know if you probably did it, what they call a horse stance. When you do a horse stance, you're in a kind of a squat, your legs shape, they're 90 degrees. Knees never go past your toes, otherwise you're putting too much stress on the joint and you can cause some serious damage. I am in no hurry for artificial knees or joints of any kind. So we teach people simple things like that. So when you move into Tai Chi or when you move into yoga and you're ready for these postures or these movements, the body is strong enough to take them. We do in part of what I do in my ritual and morning ritual, they look like yoga movements and postures that we hold. And
so there's overlap between all three.
You kind of move into, correct.
Right.
Because yoga and Tai Chi actually come from Qigong.
Okay.
Qigong, like I said, it is the precursor. So you should always start with one, and you can go into either one. They're great. I love them. I've done Tai Chi. I've done yoga, martial arts. I love those kind of things. To me, they're like a dance, and I always like to dance.
So with Tai Chi, it's one movement. And correct me if I'm wrong. So with Tai Chi, it's one movement that necessarily flows into the next movement, that necessarily flows into the next movement. With Qigong, it's more specific as to what your body needs, as to what movements you do.
Exactly.
Got it.
And then, as I said, and it progresses on from there.
Right.
So in a class setting, do you kind of take everybody at the same rate, or do you do
more individual?
within a class?
I will point out, for instance, the class, we're going to have certain exercises that everybody's going to be doing. But I try to model, if you will, or form the exercise to the individual's needs. I might bring up and point out to an individual, I see he's got a shoulder issue. I have a friend of mine, he has problems with his shoulder. He's been in the class, and by the end of the class, his shoulder is level and he's relaxed. So I'll point that out to him, because in some of the exercises, we're doing things like, one of the exercises, you end up like this. Well,
which is putting level up.
Exactly. So your arms are parallel to the ground, and I'm touching my thumb into that little divot around the shoulder. Okay? Now, that helps. I want my shoulders level. You don't want to be one higher than the other. You want it balanced. That helps to lower, because a lot of people, when they do this, they're also going to raise their shoulders up to their ears.
No.
Relax the shoulders. You got your arms straight out. Now, if you turn your palms up, you get a different reaction. You're going to feel that the shoulder's going to rotate. Frozen shoulder.
Which also opens up this lymphatic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this area right in here is another acupuncture point.
Right.
So you have a lot of people who have frozen shoulder. They can't move one shoulder over the other. You want to try and bring them into balance.
Right.
So if you can, if you can only raise, I had one gentleman in the class, he could go like this, one arm's pointed in the air, one arm he couldn't even bring the elbow up to shoulder level. Break it down.
Right.
Balance it out, because then you're throwing the neck out, the shoulders out. Bring everything out, and eventually you might get, because he had a lot of scar tissue from surgery, we might be able to get past some of that limitations. But don't go till it hurts. You should never do any kind of exercise. You might be sore and stiff afterwards, but if it goes away after you've been moving, you're fine. But if it doesn't go away, you're doing something wrong. We don't want people to hurt. They say no pain, no gain.
No. We don't do that.
We
don't push through pain.
No.
No. We don't do that.
And that goes back to knowing your limitations. We all
Well,
have.
it's not your limitations. It's just you're really in tune with your body, and if you're in pain, it's your body telling you, okay, that's as far as we're going to go.
Pain is a good teacher.
Yeah,
Tells you something's wrong.
It's a signal. It's a message.
So we work with that. We work with the limitations of the individual. So in the class, I take note of these things and I'll point it out to them. You're not calling somebody down and making fun of them. No, we're pointing something out because we want them to improve. We don't want them to get hurt.
Right.
And so this person up front is not going to be in the same place as the person in back.
Got it.
We're all different. We're coming from different places. Our bodies are different. We've experienced different things. You may have been in an accident, and this person, I've never broken a bone. Okay, I messed up my knee wrestling with my son. I have no connective tissue on the outside of this knee. It's my strongest knee now from these exercises. Used to dislocate. I've got past that. I'm not going to have the surgery. I don't need it. So it's, again, knowing where your body's at, working with the limitations you have to move beyond those. That's the ultimate goal. And again, I'm not trying to create any bodybuilders. That's not where I'm going from. I want a healthy life. I want, I tell people I want to leave a healthy corpse.
And there you go. So where do you teach? How do people get in contact with you?
Well, right now I don't have a location that I'm teaching at. That's one of the great things about this, our current situation, world situation. A lot of gyms have closed down.
How do people get in touch with you?
So they can email me at beempowered at Holistic Tools for Health. We have a website.
Can you give that again? Look at the camera.
It's beempowered at holistictoolsforhealth.com. The website is, of course, holistictoolsforhealth.com. We have a lot of different things on there. We can, and what we're working to do is personalized classes, one-on-one type classes, to work with individuals where they're at. I want to try and get people out of their houses.
Well,
Go outside and get some
vitamin D,
air,
get some sunshine,
and get some movement. We've got to move. We've got to clear the mind. We've got to get the body going again. So what we're working to do is organize these kind of one-on-one type of classes, customize the program to what the individual needs. I can go to people, they can come to, I live in Northport now. I have a beautiful room that I've set up. I train in every day. And
so you are doing one-to-one training?
One-on-one, pretty much
great.
right now is what we're doing.
Okay.
So, and
Good
of course they can call us, and I'll give my numbers, 941-626-0602. So I answer all my calls.
There you go.
My phone is glued to my hip. So I appreciate your inviting me. I've been watching your videos. I subscribed.
Yay! And so the takeaways with Qigong are anyone, any fitness level, any condition that you have that you want to improve. You want to improve your overall health. You want to improve your overall spirituality. Qigong is for you. And you can be doing it one-on-one.
You can do it in a group.
You can do it in a group. Just get in contact.
Well, and I think even having listened to you, even and having been a martial arts practitioner, I can see how even taking that as somebody that's a more advanced martial arts person, coming back to those basics could even help make some of those other practices more effective, make you better at some of the other things that you do.
Absolutely.
So,
and it's someone who wants to improve their spirituality and their connection with source, higher being, higher power, whatever you call it. And right now to reduce, like we talked a little bit about reducing stress, any of these. Because there is no limitation as far as your physical ability to be able to do them.
Exactly.
And I think that's where the power and the magic really is with Qigong or any of these modalities. They're non-invasive, and they will improve your whole wellness.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and yell at somebody, you can do it, push through it. No. I want the person to be happy. I want them to be healthy.
Yeah.
Whatever healthy is
That's
for them.
what we do here. We do happy and healthy.
Everybody's different, and we're going to come to where you're at, not where I'm at.
Right, because you've been doing this a long time. And this is Beth Annie Stockdale, owner of Your Total Body Wellness Center. Thank you for watching another episode of Supercharge Your Health. I would encourage you all to start exploring things like Qigong. It can do nothing but help you get healthier and happier. The Your Total Body Wellness Center is at 800 East Venice Avenue, Suite C in Venice, Florida, 34285. Call me, text me, 941-468-7091.
And I'm Suzanne with Discount Med Direct. That's where we are today. And you can reach me at 941-421-7155. You cannot text me at that number. That's an old-fashioned landline phone. You can stop in and see us. We're in Unit 1, or you can find us in Cape Coral at Discount Med Direct. You can find Health Supercharge or Supercharge Your Health at healthsupercharge.com or on Facebook at Supercharge Your Health.
And I think that's it. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Our wish for you is to be well, feel well, and stay well.